Hello everyone, let's look at this question from Statistics 1, 2020, January. And this question is related to Venn diagram and probability. A group of 40 families were asked whether the family had a dog, a cat, or a rabbit as pets. And here the following are those conditions. A family from this group is selected at random. B represents the event that the family has a dog. C represents the event that the family has a cat, and R represents the event that the family has a rabbit. Okay, now given these conditions, we are in part A, we are going to draw a Venn diagram to illustrate this information. Okay, let's start. First, let's draw a Venn diagram, which is a box, and then there are three sets, D, C, and R, dog, cat, and rabbit. And then we're going to fill in the values in those boxes and circles according to the conditions given in the question. So firstly, let's look at this one here. No family had a dog and a rabbit, okay? We've learned from sets that if there's a word and, it means the intersection of something, okay? And it's usually represented by the symbol, this one, okay? So this means that the intersection between the sets dog and rabbit is 0. So it's here. Okay? And then since the intersection of dog and cat is 0, and any other sets intersections, including D and C, is also 0, which means that, okay, so this D and C is equal to 0, the empty set, and then D and C and R is also equal to 0. Now, next one, two families had both a dog and a cat. This means that the intersection between the sets dog and cat is 2. Next one, 12 families had a dog. Okay, so this is all the parts including the word dog, including dog. And there's already 2 and 2 zeros. And the total number of families who had a dog is 12. So the remaining part is 12 minus 2, which is equal to 10. Okay, these numbers are easy, and now we are left with 4 numbers to fill in. Okay, next one, 14 families had a cat and 11 families had a rabbit. We're going to leave these two at the end to calculate. And let's look at the final sentence. 9 families did not have any of these animals as pets. This means that excluding all of the animals mentioned, dog, cat, and rabbit, we are left with 9 families. Those 9 families do not have any of them, so they are not included in the sets. All right, now let's figure out how to calculate the rest of the numbers. How to calculate these 3 numbers. Now, a simple way is just to use equations. So we set those numbers to be A, B, and C, and then use the relationships in the question to write down equations and solve these equations. So firstly, we notice that a total of 40 families were investigated. So all of those numbers add up to 40. So we see here, so it's A plus B plus C plus 10 plus 12 plus 9 is equal to 40. So A plus B plus C is equal to 19. And now see the red box. 14 families had a cat and 11 families had a rabbit. So cat set is A plus B plus 2 equal to 14. So A plus B is equal to 12. And then for the rabbit set is B plus C plus 10 equal to 11. So B plus C is equal to 11. And I'm not going to do the specific math. I'm just going to tell you the answer. You can do a quick math by yourselves. And we figure out that A is equal to 8, B is equal to 4, and C is equal to 7. Now we're filling these values. Okay, now part 8 is done. Part B, state, given a reason, a pair of mutually exclusive events from D, C, and R. So we're going to state 2 of these events, which means it says it's a pair, so like 2. And then from those 3 sets, D, C, and R. Okay, now there's a key word, mutually exclusive. What does mutually exclusive mean? If 2 events A and B are mutually exclusive, this means that it cannot happen at the same time. So from the question, we know that no family had a dog and a rabbit. So having a dog and a rabbit cannot happen at the same time. So this means that set D and set R are a pair of mutually exclusive events. Okay, let's write it here with a reason. Since no family has a dog and a rabbit, because it says stating given a reason. So we cannot just say D and R. We must provide a valid reason for this. A mutually exclusive pair is DR. All right. Now part C. Find the probability that the family has exactly 2 of these kinds of animals as pets. So there are 3 kinds of animals mentioned in this question. And then if it says exactly 2 of these kinds of animals, we have 3 scenarios. First one is dog and cat. Next one is dog and R. Okay, you know what these letters mean. And then the next one is C and R. These 3 groups of events are mutually exclusive, of course. So when we're dealing with mutually exclusive events and to calculate the combined probability, we add up all the individual probabilities. So now we need to know what is the numbers of these 3 events. Let's go back to this diagram, and then we can figure out the probability. So probability here is equal to the probability of DNC plus the probability of DNR plus the probability of CNR. Okay, the probability of DNC is 2, and probability of DNR is 0, and the probability of CNR is 4, and divided by total number is 40. And now we get the final answer is 3/20. All right, next one. Showing or working clearly to determine whether or not the events D and C are independent. Okay, here is also a very important point, independent events. So what is meant by independent events? When 2 events A and B are independent, the probability of A happening does not affect the probability of B happening. And then how do we test if those 2 events are independent? We use this formula. We test if probability of A times the probability of B is equal to the probability of A and B, okay? So now we go back to this question. We're going to figure out 3 probabilities, PD, PC, and PD and C. All right. So probability of D is equal to, what is number in D is 12/40. Probability of C is 14/40. And the probability of D and C is 2/40. Now, probability of D times probability of C is equal to, doing the math, we get 21/200. Okay, now let's compare those two numbers. Obviously, they're not equal. So we get that probability of D times the probability of C is not equal to the probability of D and C. Conclusion easily that D and C are not independent. Okay. Part E. Sarah's family is in a group, and her family has a pet cat. Find the probability that Sarah's family also has a pet rabbit. All right, now we're given first that Sarah's family has a pet cat. And given this condition, we are going to calculate the probability that her family has a pet rabbit. So this reminds you of the problems of conditional probability. Okay, let's recall. For conditional probability, the probability that of A given B is equal to the probability of A and B divided by the probability of B. Okay? Now here A is what? A is a probability that has a pet rabbit, so it's R. And then B is what? Is given that it has a cat. Okay? So we're going to calculate the probability of R given C. So substituting in the formula, we get P R and C divided by PC. So R and C is equal to 40 divided by 14 over 40. So it's equal to 2/7. All right, the last part, we're going to calculate this a little bit complicated probability, okay? But then we see that it's a conditional probability, so we just follow the formula, and that won't be. And C prime, remember C prime, this one is called C complement, and it's the part excluding C, okay? To see this clearly, it's really hard to determine the number in those sets. So I'll bring down the Venn diagram here and show you more clearly what it is. So the part in the numerator, D union R, so let's first draw D union R. So here is D union R, right? And then C complement is all the part excluding C, so it's this one. Okay, and what is the intersection between the green part and the yellow part? It's this part. Okay, and so the numerator is equal to 10 plus 7 divided by 40, so it's 17 divided by 40. And then C complement is 17 plus 9 equal to 26 divided by 40, and we get 17/26. So that's the answer.